Salvete. I'm Dwane Thomas from Visual Latin with a few student questions. Mr. Thomas, what's your favorite dessert? These have nothing to do with Latin. It's Nutella, by the way, but that stuff is so bad for you. Mr. Thomas, how many mutants does it take to change a light bulb? What? 2/3. Mr. Thomas, do I need other books if I'm using Visual Latin? There's a good question. It depends. If you want to learn the grammar of Latin and learn it in a lighthearted, enjoyable, hopefully fun way with some lame jokes thrown in, then Visual Latin is all you need. Visual Latin includes a reader that you go through as you go through the course. So it takes you from very, very simple to reading very difficult Latin or complex Latin by the end of the course. And it also includes a workbook that you download on an as-needed basis as you go through the course. Those, if you're wanting to master Latin grammar, those are all you need. However, if you want to take it to the next level, if you really want to become fluent in Latin, for example, or proficient, and when I say fluent, I mean you've invested 10,000 hours in the language. That's fluent. You can carry on a full conversation in Latin with anybody else who can carry on a full conversation in Latin, and by the way, those people are rare. If you want to be proficient in Latin, you need to spend about 1,000 hours in the language. At that point, you should be able to read almost anything thrown at you. You'll know how to use a Latin dictionary, you'll know how to use tools online. If you bump into words that are difficult, you will not be fluent in Latin, but you'll know enough so that you can read in Latin and you can get where you need to go when you bump into difficult obstacles. Do you need any other books? I recommend, if you want to go to the proficiency level, on your way to the fluent level, I recommend that you add to Visual Latin this wonderful book right here. This is Lingua Latina. This is my own beat up, worn out, tired copy of one of my favorite books on the planet. Lingua Latina by a guy named Hans Orberg. This is part 1, Familia Romana. Part 2 is all military history and geography of Rome, a little bit of Virgil, things like that, a little bit of the Aeneid thrown in. But this, part 1, is the story of a Roman family. It also starts out very easy. The first sentence is, Italia in Europa est. Italy is in Europe. Nope, I'm wrong. Roma in Italia est. Rome is in Italy. The second sentence was the one I just said. Roma in Italia est. Starts out very, very simply. And then it ends with you reading Roman poetry. And in the course of the book, you learn about 2,500 words. That's quite a lot of words. I think it's about 2,000 words. That's a lot of words. And you're going to need that if you want to progress to a fluency level. This book will take you to a proficiency level. So what I recommend is that you go through Visual Latin, and while you're going through Visual Latin, you read along using Lingua Latina. After that, once you're finished with Lingua Latina, I recommend that my students all simply download on their smartphones, and most of them have smartphones, a copy of the New Testament in Latin. There is several copies for free in the App Store or online. You can download them onto your phone and then simply read along as you scroll through. One of them, biblium.is, is actually an audiobook as well as the text. So while you're reading along, you can have, I think it's monks, read the New Testament to you. This will take you way down the road toward fluency in Latin. This will put you at an advanced intermediate level if you're able to read the New Testament in Latin. And then after that, you can basically go read whatever you want in Latin. So do you need extra books to go along with Visual Latin? Not necessarily. It depends on your goals.